All right,
Start from
cool.
the top.
Welcome to Mindset. Welcome to Mindset. This is me, Project B. It's my boy King CJ in the spot.
Was probably
And we just kind of want to tap in on a couple things in terms of focusing on how we choose partnerships, why we choose partnerships, and the real motive behind that and what we're
facts.
doing. So, CJ, I want you to kind of go ahead, just open up the space in terms of explaining what that, why that's important or what that highlights when we kind of try to uncover that.
Yeah, let's unpack it, Mo. So the thing that we're trying to figure out is there a pattern? Do we have a type? When we say like what's your type, it automatically seems to be like a physical thing. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I like a joint that's thick, like long hair, like, she kind of walk like this, she kind of talk like that. But what I'm saying is let's unpack something a little bit deeper. Let's go beneath the surface and figure out what is our type when it comes to the personality and the character of that person. Like what's up with the personality traits? Let's see if we can find a pattern. You know what I'm saying? That kind of identifies some. I ain't going to unpack it all the way real quick, but what I'm going to just start off with is saying, what's your type? So for me, my type is somebody that is looking to be led over looking to be leading. Like they naturally have a disposition to be submissive. And it doesn't necessarily show on the surface, right? Because they can be all domineering or have a lot of strength or personality, right? But when it comes to the important things in life, like they're like, look, I don't want to deal with that. 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 And so they're looking for somebody to lead in those areas. You know what I'm saying? So another thing I think I said to myself that I probably, I'm gonna just be transparent. So another thing I look for is women that have like a low key kind of, they promiscuous or they want to be promiscuous. Like they want to bust it down. Like they might not know, like they might not have that like already built into their system, but they low key have fantasies and like wanna like discover who they are sexually.
Is
Like
that
that's
healthy?
a big part. Like then women that have certain qualities that I don't have or strengths that I don't have. So I look for somebody that's meticulous. I look for somebody that is naturally passive. I look for somebody that's, and it is not for what y'all say, but those are like some of the things. I look for somebody that has a strong family background. You know what I'm saying? I look for somebody that has a loving nature. Like they naturally just want to love. You know what I'm saying? I look for somebody that is open to new ideas and new concepts. So maybe they've been doing, following a system like their whole life, but there's certain areas that they haven't touched. So they want to learn, but they haven't had anybody show 'em. So those are some of the things that I look for in women. Now it doesn't always turn out like that, but that's just my examples of what I look for in women, straight up.
I can appreciate that. I mean, that's a long list. So, have you felt like you've ever found that in a single person?
Well, yeah, that's easy work. That's not even that's not even as in depth as I wanted to go, like for real. But that's definitely easy to find. There's a lot of submissive women out here. It's a lot of articulate or intelligent women out here. There's a lot of women that haven't discovered their freaky side yet. But are curious. Yeah, man. It's easy. That's easy. That's not a big deal.
I
The
mean,
big
I
deal
think
is the
that
chemistry. Like the big deal is actually like, being able to be in relationships. Like that's the hard part.
I think that's the part for me that I'm finding the most challenging. It's just that there's oftentimes a lot of things that kind of go inside with the relationships that we have. Like, cause like you talk about like education.
Yeah.
I think a lot of men now think that, because of women, especially black women, but they are the most educated right now, right? So it's like, I think that that leads to a certain power dynamic. That's technically just based upon the amount of degrees. I'm talking about just degrees. Like if we're using that metric in terms of secondary education and the amount of people that have completed it, black women are leading
Yeah.
in that category. Now, what did that does that lead to overall intelligence or overall just wisdom and well, you know what I'm saying, and leadership? That's another debatable topic. But what I'm saying is I think that just having those qualifications alone have introduced a power dynamic in relationships where people are like, hey, women are like, hey, I'm kind of your equal, right? I'm kind of your equal. I'm not someone that needs to follow. We need to like create this co-living situation where I have just as much say as you do in determining what goes on in a relationship. I hear a lot of that. I just don't know if that's an echo chamber that I'm in or if that's really what's happening in the world.
Okay. Well, I'll just address this. It's a fact that women are equal. That's a fact. They are equal. It doesn't mean we're the same though. Just because we're equal does not mean we're the same. So there's a lot of understanding, balancing, and understanding how to like really communicate these things that become problematic in social media. So what I say is we definitely equal, but we not the same. So we have different roles to play at any given time. You know, just because you have an opinion doesn't make it valid. Just because you have emotions doesn't make it valid. And that goes both ways. So, at any point, I think we just arguing semantics about what leadership looks like and how that shows up in relationships. But we ain't talking about equality because, let me say this, Mo. The biggest issue with dealing with equality with women is men having a conversation by themselves, especially black men, to understand that we are equal to everything and everybody on this planet. We say it, but we don't show it. We can say it, but we don't live it. Like equality means equality. So the fact that I think there's a power dynamic that's been like argued about on social media points to the fact not just that women don't feel they're equal, but that somehow men feel they're superior. And that goes against everything that we stand for as a community. It's counterproductive.
But when I look into that health, because I like the point of what you brought up, like why we choose the parts that we choose. And sometimes I don't think I've ever thought about that. I think I've been caught up with what I liked about a person more than anything, than more so the real value of a person. So, for example, a person, I look at it like a purchase, right? Some people purchase what they like, but they don't understand the real value, right? You might like flaming hot potato chips, but it doesn't really provide a lot of value to you, right? In terms of nutrition, in terms of like overall well being and like what it should actually, how it will actually benefit you going forward. I think that a lot of times I've chosen things based upon just an initial liking and an initial sensationalism, like, ooh, it's exciting. This is pleasurable. This is, this. Then come to find out on the back end that maybe this thing actually is bad for me or it actually is like causing me to lose a part of myself being in this relationship. So, I,
Wait. Are you comparing relationships to a bag of chips?
yeah,
Is that what we doing?
I'm comparing impulsive decisions.
Okay, there you
I'm
go. All right.
comparing impulsive decisions. Yeah, like just impulsive decisions based upon like you don't have a depth of a wisdom that's involved in your decision making, right? Your decision making is based on one level of thinking instead of layers of thinking. Instead, coming to an ultimate conclusion based upon like a distillation, right? Distilling that initial feeling to a core principle. And I think that that's often, I don't think a lot of people, because if a person don't get maybe the visual stimulating things, the things that make them, that appeal to them, the marketing of a person, if the marketing doesn't appeal to them, then they actually don't get to the substance of what actually may be good or not for them.
No, well said, well said. And I think that what society has done to alter how we even look at relationships is this changed our formula for what is quality, what is beneath the surface, what is valuable when it comes to relationships. So a lot of what we base relationships on is just like some high school cafeteria shit for me. You know what I'm saying? Like you want the dude that full pause. We want the woman, you know, that has the same body type as you did when you was in high school, or you want the woman that has the same type of appeal that you did when you was in high school. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like just understanding why we want those things and then What about those things serves us? What about it doesn't? And can we actually choose something that is valuable to us in the way that we find value today, which is totally different from how I felt when I was in high school. So there's a big contrast there that we really want to identify and break down and get to the root of and figure out what is the type of what are the characteristics and the competencies of a woman that I need right now? That's the big question.
So in terms of getting a partner, I agree with that. I think that in order to have a partner first, to have a meaningful partnership, I think that there needs to be a mission, right? Just the same thing in terms of so it's like even a man, if a man doesn't really have a mission, what's the point of him having a partner? Right? It's no part because like where he going? Where is he going? What is he leading? What is he building? He doesn't have anything. He just wants somebody there for the sake of being there to serve his interests, his instant gratification, right? Just to serve his, even if it's a trophy wife, right? That just serves his ego, and that just serves his status in a way, right? So even for me, because like some people feel like if they get the baddie, right? They get the baddie, then it's like that means something about them. That look how many baddies I got, or look how many like it's like it's almost like saying like how many rings I got in basketball. It's like look how many times I've won, right? I'm a winner. And I often think that, you know, what I'm saying we choose relationships without thinking about the real purpose and the back end of a relationship. A lot of it be front end, where it's like I want the look, I want the likes on IG. I want people to look at me with envy because they see what I got and they ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? Or I might just be using it as a band-aid. Like a lot of times I found that having like me going after something and me getting it, I think that it somehow validated that I was enough. You know what I'm saying? That somebody else liked me in return. Like me back? Oh, all right, boom. Like I'm validated. See, someone likes me. Someone likes me. I'm approved.
And not just somebody likes me, that type of woman likes me, right? Is that woman, that baddie likes me? Is that woman with the body type, with the long hair that makes the other dudes turn around? That one likes me. It's the one that might be incredibly articulate and like very dynamic in a professional space. That woman likes me. Is the one that okay, whatever her status is that validates you. A woman that has that status validates you. And so when it comes to things like that, you know, that's a story as old as time, man. And I don't see anything wrong with that in a way, but I just think that there's also competencies that we need to add to that archetype of a woman that we should be looking for. So you ever apply for a job before? All right.
Yeah.
So there's certain characters traits that they look for, but then there's certain competencies that they look for to understand how you're going to perform and be able to grow on the job. There's certain skill sets that you need to have in order to be qualified beyond your character. So your character, your persona, like how you show up in the interview, that's one thing. But then who you are kind of decides for you whether or not you can show up for the actual role that they trying to qualify you for. Let me see if I can find this. But the question is, what if we kind of judge more based on competencies than character? All right, so look at this. Now, these are job qualifications that interviewers are looking for. So me being the interviewer or you being the interviewer, it would behoove you like tap in, please tap in on adding this to a list of qualifications. All right, here we go. So the competencies of this role is a customer focus. They're action oriented. They're resourceful. They manage complexity. They have interpersonal savvy and they communicate effectively. So think about when it comes to the roles in relationships. If we're not choosing somebody based on these specific qualities, how it could affect our relationship.
I feel you on that. I mean, is that a detriment to what we have like in society and culture right now? I mean, I look at myself again. Like I said, I've only been in 3 relationships, bro, in my life at 35 years old. So like, I'm pretty consistent. G. I'm not gonna lie. In terms of like when I lock in with somebody, I don't be doing like little half baked relationships. Now, have I ever gone through like boy phase or like, you know what I'm saying, where I just do some random weird stuff. Yes, I've done that. But like I've never once I lock in with somebody, I'm pretty much locked in. It's like, do I think my if I look at my next relationship, those qualities, I do think that if I attach qualities to a person and not just try to take a person and no, do they need to be a complete do they need to be complete through the door? I guess is what I'm saying. Or are there some core principles that they need to have?
Yeah, and I think that this list is what speaks to that, right? So when I'm talking about approaching relationships from a competency standpoint, it changes from, hey, they're already pre-built to they have the capabilities. Now, if they don't have these capabilities, if they don't show up with these skills, then they won't last in long-term relationships. It doesn't matter. So no, somebody doesn't have to be pre-built to be the thing, but they do have to be able to manage complexity. They do have to be able to have interpersonal savvy, right? They do have to communicate effectively, right? These are the skills that's going to get y'all to the next level. These are going to be the skills that, because they communicate effectively, now y'all don't have a problem with emotional intelligence as if you didn't choose somebody that couldn't communicate effectively. You know what I'm saying? Now, because you choose somebody that manages complexity, you're going to be able to have somebody that has a capacity for the life that y'all have down the road. You know what I'm saying? For the situations that come at y'all left and right. So it's not necessarily like we all judge based on, okay, they have to manage a budget. Okay. Well, that's still different from managing complexity. You know what I'm saying? I don't want no woman that's going to talk to me crazy. That's still different from somebody that has interpersonal savvy, that has the intellect to operate within your boundaries as well as their boundaries. You know what I'm saying? So it's just understanding that, like when I'm having this conversation mode, I really had to identify the fact that I didn't have the women that I thought I had.
I feel that. You know, especially that talking to me crazy part. That's why I mean, see, sometimes I don't realize that until I get into a situation where that's the case, right? I realize like, oh, this is a trigger. This is something I'm not going for. I cannot have this be happening in my space because I'm only gonna bark for so long. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't do the barking, man. Like this is too much. So I feel you on that. But I had to learn that on the job though. How do you know that that's something you don't want until you experience it?
Well, I think it goes back to the list, man. And I'm really good at this, man. I'm really good at kind of reflecting on myself to understanding what qualities I can work on and what qualities I have and how I show up. Like I'm very self-aware like that. So I think for us, it's not more so about them, it's about us. It's about us. Like being self-aware is something that's going to take like how you perceive things honestly. So imagine if you don't look past the triggers, the red flags. Imagine if you don't look past the fact that somebody can't manage complexity. You're not going to be in a situation where they're popping off at you crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like if they can't handle like ambiguity, right? That's a skill set, being able to handle ambiguity. So when y'all are in a relationship and certain red flags might come up in her mind, that's because she can't handle things that don't have labels on them. You know what I'm saying? So she got to label everything in order to make it make sense. And she going to make it make sense based on whatever already her mindset is in life. You know what I'm saying? So for us, it's really about making sure that we are self-aware and we're managing things in the same light because we're going to be able to notice that in other people.
Good point. I like that.
Yeah.
I
It's
like that.
game, bruh. It's game. This is the new game. 2026, Slim. I'm trying to tell you, it's 2026. Fellas is going to look at things differently. And I'm going to help us look at relationships, look at women, look at interactions with people. We're going to change the mindset of how we do it to become more masterful. So, this is real talk right here, man. I'm putting us on game, man. We here.
John, look at this. You know, a lot of people I know from like other cultures, like I've dabbled with other women, other cultures, like Asian and other stuff like that. And they used to tell me that basically the person that you pick, your spouse, one who you decide to marry and who you decide to have children with, this is like one of the most crucial decisions of your life. Like it is top because it could either elevate you all the way to the top or it could destroy you wholeheartedly, right? It can so I found like there's a lot of men on the edge of whether they are great or whether they're in the slumps. There is a point or a junction point where there was a woman involved somewhere. Whether now sometimes it's the mother wound, right? But sometimes it's that mother wound being replayed out again through another woman that they have a romantic relationship with. So they never healed the mother wound. However, they go out into the world, get with another woman, and now they don't know how, like, even me, I'm speaking from my own experience. I'm not speaking for other men. When I went to that situation, being with another woman, I went back into the same role that I had with my mother with another woman. Right. So I was a situation like how I viewed my mother is like how I viewed other women in a reality. So it was part of it was subconscious and part of it just played out over time. So I guess even when we talk about how do we choose our partners, I think our mothers play a large role into consciously what we look for in partners.
Okay, so it might sound weird to some people that your mother it plays a big part in your relationship. But let me ask you a question. What's your first relationship with a woman, period? It's your mom, right?
Mom,
It's your mom.
absolutely.
So you're going to learn about women through your mom. You're going to know what's possible only because of your relationship with your mom. Could be some aunts, could be some sisters, those people around you are going to frame what you understand are possible in relationships with women. So it's important to understand that. It's important to understand what is influence you because we only choose based on the options we know are available, right? So if I have a close relationship with my sister and she pops off all the time, I'm either going to be naturally submissive and want a girl that pops off and runs my life, or I'm going to be tired of that shit and want somebody that does the complete opposite. You know what I'm saying? Right? If I have a mom that is extremely meticulous, organized, and things like that, I'm going to naturally expect women to just have that quality because that's all I know from women. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing with the relationships that our moms have, how they treat us, how they nurture us. Like we know what's possible from nurturing and love and affection based on our relationships with our mom. And it's a double-edged sword, Mo, because what might work, what might be excellent, what might be great from our moms, we might look for in other women that never even had that and never even seen it. We just assume that because they're a woman, they have these nurturing traits that my mom did. Or we assume that they have these toxic traits that my mom did. You know what I mean? And that's just how women are. And it couldn't be further from the truth. But it's a double-edged sword because it can play into our fears or it can play into our strengths. You know what I'm saying? But how do we find that type of woman that really matches what we're looking for? And do we even know what we're looking for? Do we even know? Because a lot of us are free falling and run into our mom or run into our ex and run into like we just
Man.
free falling in this shit, bro. Like we don't really have a filter for picking out what works in relationships with us, Mo. But yeah, nah,
Yeah.
back on the mother thing, Mo. That's really, really, really deep, man. So what do you look for based on your relationship with your mom? Like what is it that you found like impacted how you look at relationships?
Well, one, I look at my mother as like the relationship I've had with her has always been up and down. It was always a situation where my mother led, like she was a single mother, right? So she, in a way, was carrying this mantle of like the leader and authority. However, I don't think she really had the emotional intelligence to like really do that, right? The composure that you would naturally get from a man who's a composed man, right? A man who's kind of suited and settled in his masculine, you get composure. That's what you start to see that quality. With women, you can get fierceness, right? They can be fierce, right? Even if you think of like a lioness, it's fierce. It's like it'll attack, but it's still the feminine energy. So with that, I think that I was inbred with a lot of that fire or that lot of intensity without having the polar opposite of that calmness or that composure. So I say that to say when I met resistance, even with my mom, I'm a man. I have a man's body. I have a man's build, right? But I got the emotional kind of veracity of a female, right? Of like where I can go toe to toe with you. So when I meet that, I know how to respond as that. I know how to respond with that type of intensity. Oh, I can match this energy.
Hold
I've
on, you
seen it.
sassy. You sassy. That's what you say.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it sassy because no,
But you
not
hold
I
on,
know
hold on.
what sassy is. I know what sassy is. Like, sassy is more so like I'm trying to, like, go toe to toe with you and say some, like, stuff like that. Like, I could like, if you wanna go back and forth like that, I could do that. I'll do mine in a more intellectual type of way, but I'll break you down. Like, I'll break you down, like, but I have the intent of breaking you down psychologically, right? And I guess you'd call it like read people, "Oh, she read you up and down." It's like, all right, boom, I could do that too, instead of looking more so on the lines of like, again, that all determines about my state and what state I'm in consciously. Like, if I'm overwhelmed in life, then I'm naturally probably gonna be like that because at this point, I'm just fighting fire with fire. In terms of like the woman I chose, I would say that the woman I chose was very much aligned, just like right my ex-wife. Like, it was the same things, right? A lot of projection, a lot of, but again, I used to see and hear my mom do things that led to my interpretation of women, right? Lying, right? I think that they all lie, right? They all take advantage. They all use who they need to use around them to get whatever they want to get, right? It's just because I saw my mother do it, right? Hey, boom, that's my example. I'm not saying that she deserves no smoke. I mean, but she did raise me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, certain point, we just gotta call a spade a spade.
This joint just zoomed in on my face extra crazy. Hold on, you muted too.
So I say, "I see you, boy, you really locked in right now. You really needed that
How did
FaceTime real quick."
how did it zoom? Like it just automatically just popped up and
Hey,
zoomed in on my face. I can't even like I'm trying to get back. God damn, bro.
trying to go back to the original settings.
Yeah. I'm pressed against the wall. I'm trying to get how I didn't even do my ball view. All right, so let's keep the conversation going though. All right.
Yeah,
So look, right? I'm hearing us have this conversation, and I'm gonna ask you a question that I heard Kevin Samuels ask. Who trained you to be a husband?
sure, it would have to be a man of some sort because that's the role of a man.
Nah, not generally, like, but who taught you? Did somebody teach you?
No one, no, I never saw it. I never saw the example, so I took on a title and I took on a job that I had never seen done, never practiced for, never prepped for, never even knew what the now you get a job, they have expectations of the job, right? I never even knew what those expectations was. I know loosely what I was supposed to do. I knew I had committed to something, but I didn't know what the details were at all.
Yeah, and I think, R.I.P. Kevin Samuels, man. However y'all feel about it, don't matter. Just the fact that we bringing him up. It's just a conversation that I don't think that men have had either. So it's one of the conversations and arguments that he would have, with women. But the conversation and understanding is like just because you was raised in a two-parent home too, though, it might mean you saw a marriage, but it doesn't mean you were taught to be married. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, hey, these are husbandly duties. Hey, this is husband responsibility. Hey, this is things you're going to deal with as a husband. This is how you map this out. This is how you navigate being a husband. Just because you were in a two-parent relationship growing up doesn't mean that you necessarily have these skills either. So I'm just asking you to say, and find out because I wasn't taught to be a husband either. It doesn't mean that, you know, I might have seen it closer than you, but I saw it. I didn't see marriage. You know what I'm saying? I saw my mom and my dad. That doesn't teach me the lessons that some people think just being in a two-parent home automatically teaches you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
absolutely,
there's a
absolutely.
myth behind that. But
Well, you can see a lot of things, you know what I'm saying, in that dynamic that are not healthy, right? Like, you can get the example of dysfunction, right? Even though they're together, you get people who stay together 20, 30 years and be dysfunctional for 15 of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, where it's just like, it just it's not healthy, it's not vibrant. So I think that expectation is a big part of it because what is a husband's role or duties in America versus the Caribbean versus South America versus Africa versus Europe. You know what I'm saying? I think that all these factors are fluid, right? Because I'm thinking about what creates harmony, what skill set is needed. And I think that one person alone can't be harmonious. I think that because there's a partnership, you have to look at how does this partnership be healthy? Like how do these two pieces come together and establish something that is healthy, right? For not only the two individuals, but really it's supposed to impact the surrounding, I guess you call it aspects or what you might call what do y'all want to call it? People who have shared interests, like children, the extended family, community, like
Yeah,
everyone's
your
supposed to,
your village, your environment. Yeah.
right? How does the health of this relationship help the rest of that? Right? And that means that we need to figure out what leads these two to be successful. And that's why I ultimately look at relationships as being part of a something larger, because those two relationships will then feed each other too. The community will help sustain the relationship. It's
Mm,
reciprocation.
man, oh man, oh boy. Okay.
Do you see why some of these communities end up having arranged marriages? Because it really wasn't about the two individuals and their choices. It was about it was more so about raw how it benefited the whole, right? Or the families themselves, right? It was larger than the two individuals. Man.
Uh, no, okay. So when I'm hearing you say, like, I understand the concept behind arranged marriages, right? But arranged marriages, you were taught to be a husband and you were taught to be a wife, specifically trained in those areas. Then you don't have a lot of people that don't have the competencies I just read. Cause like here in the States, like we influenced not to have to live our life based on things outside it. Like I just read off a list of things that we don't apply to relationships. And what I see in the Western world, like, do you see a lot of people stressed out? Like, like on the edge of their seats, like
Facts.
everything is like bothers them and like, nah, you don't see that. So they have a different competencies in some of those countries or some of those communities that have arranged marriages. We don't have the ability to show up as a whole person, bro. We're showing up in relationships fractured already from the beginning. PTSD from the beginning. You feel me? Like, so we don't have the ability to just be like compare ourselves to a community that would have an arranged marriage because whether or not somebody is even capable of being a wife or a husband doesn't mean that their partner is. You know what I'm saying? So it comes down to kind of like reshaping and rebuilding from the ground up for us. And that's why
Yeah.
I'm coming back to, okay, why do you pick the way we pick? Why do we pick the way we pick? Like, for real. That's ultimately what it comes down to, is understanding what motivates us. It ain't got nothing to do with them. Like the women, I guarantee you, Mo, once we get through this and we understand more about why we pick and what influences our decisions when it comes to picking women, I guarantee you we're going to see women that match the things that we actually need. I guarantee that. But we can't show up like that if we
I definitely think it's different across the board. Like when you say we, I mean, like I said, it's the same reason why it's this decision. But like why do you make the decision? It's a purchasing decision, right? In a way, but it's not really a purchase, but it's a way of why do people pick the certain schools they go to? Why do people pick what certain jobs or why they pick the certain clothes or different things? Because of the statement that it makes, or because of the utility of it, or because of the inherent value of it, right? Does your decision at what level does your decision make sense, right? Or does it feed your appetite, right? So your appetite might be for status, image, things like that, and it only stops there, right? It's not going to go into substance. It's on, okay, boom, you choose those, but ultimately, when you're living and cohabitating with somebody, you're going to have to cross that line of substance at some point. And when you realize that there is nothing there, or there's no there, or that it's just misaligned, like where you have priorities or principles, they don't. But the surface level stuff, yeah, y'all match, but everything else underneath, you find out you don't match. Then it's like, boom, now we just played a game. We opened ourselves up energetically, right? Exchanged energetically. So now we want to try to make it work. We try to force something to work now because we want to kind of validate the fact that we have exchanged this energy with this person because that's what's happening in America right now is hooking up is coming first and then figuring out is coming last. I think it's just out of order.
All right, so like taking it back to us, like how do you know what you don't know? Because a lot of these things, we don't know who we are. We don't know who our partners are until we're in these actual situations. You know what I mean? Like being in a relationship, cohabitating, being married, like those are situations you don't encounter unless you actually do it. And there's situations that won't come up until you do it. So how do you know what you made of if you never even been able to see it until that relationship?
We just if I had to really look at it, I would think that we just need to have an organizational structure where young men can come listen to older men who have lived it already and have gone through it, and then they trust and can validate what those men have gone through, or just be able to perceive it so that they can avoid certain mistakes. But some people will be hard headed, bro, and they want to go learn it their own way because one, they're being inundated with information about how they're supposed to make their decision. You're being marketed to all day, every day through social media, through your like the life around you. How our society and structure works is very consumptive and is very much based upon like material and what you have. So it leads people to make superficial, half thought out decisions, right? Since really they make decisions based upon their sensationalism, their lust, or their anger, or their whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just these emotions instead of thinking. Just like they say, people buy off of their emotions. They don't buy off of a logical thought out process. Because if you really did think off of that, half the stuff people wouldn't buy. Right. So that I mean, think about even the nature of what's going on out here. People out here buying bodies. They buying bodies. They're buying this stuff to put on their bodies to make themselves more marketable in a situation. They're in a marketplace. So
So let's take
and
it back to us, Mo.
okay,
Like how
how
how like this camera angle is blowing me, bro. I don't know what happened.
you good
Like,
on camera, but what you good, but you are close. I don't know what happened, but
bruh,
you super close now.
like it just bumped up. Like I was this far back, and then all of a sudden it said, "Boop."
It was a healthy range. I don't know what happened.
Bruh, there's gotta be a button for this, bro. I'm hit there. I'm hit there.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm
Okay,
here.
okay. If I can get back.
You
This
solid,
sounds
man.
this
But
sounds
that's crazy. I know we're reaching up on the hour. I definitely want to try to cap it at an hour, but is there any closing remarks or anything that specifically you want to talk about before we close it out? Thanks, man. No, I definitely appreciate that. I mean, you helped me open up a lot of things in terms of like my thought process. And again, like I'm in this phase right now where I'm kind of in my period of alone and healing, but thinking about like when I do get out there and do look to like eventually dating or doing whatever again, like what it is I'm looking for. And it's going to dictate the questions that I ask and also the patience that I have in a relationship because to look for something, you just can't get that answer via words, right? They got to show you. They got to show you that they have these qualities. And the only way that they can show you is over time. You need to be able to see sets of it, right? What I mean by that is like some people could be strong in the first set, but weak in the last set, right? I want to see how you are when you tired. I need to see how you are when things ain't going right and you didn't wake up on the right side of the bed. What's your quality like then? Because if it's all good all the time and that's all I'm getting to see, I have to understand that there will be some times where it's not. Yeah. Cause man, it's like live therapy. And like so I'm an open book and I appreciate your insight. So I'm using this as therapy and also something I could share with the world. People in the comments can share it. Like because again, for me, the more insight I have on something, the better picture I'm able to just kind of draft. So I appreciate you on this. I think this might be a good thing to do too, is just have like open therapeutic discussions, right? It doesn't have to technically be therapy in the sense that we see it, but can be something where we kind of really unpack certain things and see, how the people feel about it. So I appreciate you, boss. That's an intellectual game bang over there, man. That's just what it be. It just be a whole bunch of like, let me just game bang on these insights real quick. Here's a real gang sign in Chicago, by the way. But anyway, yes, it
love,
is.
the
Yes,
love.
it is. Yeah, but it ain't about that though, for sure. It
Nigga,
is love.
everybody hijacking
Right.
everything, bro. The Lucky Charms,
That's the
man,
heart,
or
right?
like
That's
this
the heart.
crazy, man.
You see the
This
heart,
cra-
right? But
that's the
but
heart.
You pull it away, bro. Yeah, that's the heart. Pull it away. Now we gang banging.
But
It's a
see,
little,
I did like
little
that's a
different. Oh, yours different. Okay. I thought
is
you were
that
talking
okay?
about
Am I
that.
safe with
Yeah, I
this?
got. I think you good there. We're gonna have to leave that up for the chat and see. But
No, what?
don't kill him, y'all. Don't kill him. Anyway,
Look, man, I'm
I
starting my
man.
own gang, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
for
a
real.
one that I'm
For
riding
real.
for everybody. I'm
Gang
riding
gang.
for
It is.
everybody. All right.
All right,
I
this
appreciate you,
mindset,
Project.
man. Yeah, for sure, man. This mindset checking out Project B, King CJ. We gonna be on more often. Look, we just getting our first couple reps in, man. We about to start cooking in here, but once we really get this down packed, we out here. So until then, till next time, man, stay with it. Keep that mind sharp. Peace.